Okay, this is Sam's question 2 of paper 2 of the IGCSE 0522 reading paper that you're sitting tomorrow. As you can see, he's underlined the key words that he's got to write about in his answer, but he's not highlighted which paragraphs he has to look at. And consequently, Sam, you look at paragraph 3 to write about the cold, and then because cold is in your mind, you write about the cold again in paragraph 4, and you don't look at the right paragraph. So I'm going to mark this two ways, one as it is, and the other way, assuming that you were using the right skills and that you would have got the right marks had you written about the right paragraph. So let's look now at the answer. Tom Vincent is described as having numbing fingers. So that is a correct bit of imagery. The dictionary definition of numbing is when you cannot feel something. Yes, that's fine. The effect of this is that it shows how much pain you have to bear through the walk. Well, this is contradictory, isn't it? Why do I have to endure pain if I can't feel something? So this effect isn't fully explained, and so you need to suggest how the pain will come after once your feet have thawed out, or that the knowledge of knowing that that pain is coming is what's making him numb, perhaps. I don't know. You have to talk about the effects specifically and not contradict yourself. Personification is used in the quotation, "Frost had bitten." Well, that's excellent. The dictionary definition of frost is the coldness, just about okay. The effect here is pain because of the word bitten. So that's correct, but it gives you a really good clue that actually the dictionary definition that you need is not of frost, but of bitten. And then you could talk about how he's under attack as though by a wild animal, and that would be the effect. Tom is said to have ran briskly. The dictionary definition of briskly means a slightly fast pace. The effect on the reader is that Tom is running fast to escape being tortured by the cold. So this is a perfect way of quoting, giving the correct dictionary definition and explaining the effect. Well done. A metaphor is used within the quotation miniature glacier. Good. The dictionary definition of glacier is a large object made of ice. The effect on the reader is that it's extremely cold. So it emphasizes how things are extremely cold, but also a glacier is going to be an obstacle, I imagine, and that will be part of the effect. You've correctly then decided to give us the overall general effect of the paragraph. The general effect is that the conditions are brutally freezing and are possibly getting the better of Tom through the words of "frost had bitten." So that's slightly clumsy phrasing, and you don't have to quote in your general overview. Well, let's go to the past paper mark scheme and see what the examiners have for their overview. The general effect is one of whiteness, which you've not put in. The pain caused by the extreme cold, that will be under there, which is true. The battle for the man between his warm interior and the external temperatures. So you really kind of half express that. If we look at what you've picked on, you've correctly picked on images. So the numbing fingers, the bitter swiftness, the frost had bitten, the miniature glacier, but you can see there are others you could have picked. You only needed 4, and indeed you had 4, but your best one was about running briskly, which the mark scheme doesn't include as imagery. And I don't know why that is, but unfortunately it's not in the mark scheme. To me, it's no different from numbing fingers. That's not a literary technique. It's not simile or personification or what have you, just like running briskly isn't, but nevertheless is included as an image. The good news is that the examiners aren't after a particular number of words chosen, although bear in mind this is the 2013 paper, and now they're asking for a precise 4 quotations. So in your second section, you've not written about the fire, but let's imagine the question was about this. There is described as being a blanket of snow, which is a metaphor, correct? The dictionary definition of blanket is a sheet which covers a particular object, correct? The effect is that the area was covered with snow, making it hard to visibly see. Now that's a problem because if there's a blanket of snow, it actually makes travel difficult, and it means that the snow is still, it's on the ground. So seeing is not a problem unless you're talking about reflected light. So your effect on the reader isn't well made here. The water is described as having an unbroken surface, giving no warning. Good, that is imagery. The dictionary definition of unbroken is something which is in normal condition. Good. The effect is that Tom is unaware of the dangers that surround him. You need to be a little bit more specific. For example, the danger of falling into the freezing water. I assume you haven't really spelt out why that's a danger. Finally, Tom is being described as having the cold water strike his feet. That also is imagery. The dictionary definition of strike is for one object to hit or collide with another. The effect is that the cold water is painful on his feet because of the word strike. Seems like a bullet, or more likely a punch, but it does convey the pain, so you would get the marks for that. However, there are only 3 quotations here and you needed 4. That will count against you. The general effect is that Tom is trying to overcome nature's obstacles and the freezing conditions, and that's quite well expressed. You've got 2 ideas, so it's a complex sentence, and that probably would be correct had that been the question. Okay, let's go back to the examiner's requirements, and as you know, I tend to go with the gut reaction that 6 is a C. A satisfactory attempt is made to identify appropriate words and phrases, yes. The response mostly gives meanings of words, which you did. Any attempt to suggest and explain the effect is basic or general. That's true on some of yours. One half of the question may be better answered than the other. Well, let's assume it was all right for the minute. You've probably done enough to get a 7. You've written about a number of words and phrases. Some explanations are given well, which is right. Images are definitely recognised as such, and you do go some way to explaining them. There is some evidence that the candidate understands how language works. Well, certainly you were talking about your similes and metaphors and what have you in the first paragraph. So the examiner is going to want to put you here, so at least a B grade for that. However, because you wrote about one paragraph correctly, but the other paragraph incorrectly, this kicks in. One half of the question may be better answered than the other. So the highest you could probably get there is a 5. Although you've got a mixture of appropriate and inappropriate choices, so they might come down to a 4. And that's a judgment call from the examiner. I don't know which way they'll jump. Personally, I'd give you the benefit of the doubt, the 5, because I'd be looking at the skills that you use. Another examiner will be saying, yeah, but actually he can't read the question properly, and this is a test of reading. It is the reading paper, paper 2. I'll bring him down to band 4. So the key thing for you is always to link your quotation to the specific effect, and then finally double check that you're writing about the right paragraph, Sam.